The journey to find a deeper connection with God is more about you than anything else. When we think about God, oftentimes our initial understanding, belief, programming is that God is somewhere out there, that God is separate from us. But as you take this journey of spirituality, you begin to get a different sense of where God is. You begin to own the fact that God is everywhere, including within. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD of Metaphysical Sciences, also the author of Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual Not Religious. When we talk about getting deeper in our connection with God, we have to first acknowledge that God is everywhere. Then when we really conceptualize that understanding that God is everywhere, we have to then ask ourselves, where is the most important or the most relevant, the most significant place that we need to focus our attention in order to increase our connection with God? And when you think and really get really introspective about it, you understand that the most important place is within yourself. When you start to go further into that journey of understanding, you start to understand the connection between your consciousness and that of God. And it is grounded in my teachings and the teachings of metaphysical sciences and spirituality that your consciousness is the direct link to God, to the universe. That is simply because when we really get into our experiences, our belief systems of God, it always comes down to consciousness, because it is through consciousness that you are able to find awareness and your relationship with God and your essentially your experience, your definition, your understanding of God is grounded in your own consciousness. So you start to really understand that consciousness and God are essentially one and the same, because one really cannot do without the other. Now, we can go really far into that concept, but that's not what this is about. This is about understanding that in order for you to get deeper into your connection with God, you essentially have to get deeper into your connection with self. Even if you are somebody who resonates with the idea that God is somewhere outside of you, somewhere looking down upon us, right? Judging us and coming into an understanding of judgments and assumptions and wanting to help us and support us, we have to still recognize the importance of self when it comes to even that kind of relationship. You have to understand that in order for you to get deeper in your connection with God, you have to practice inner focus, okay? You have to practice inner focus in the true and the pure power of prayer. Now, what is prayer, though? For people who are religious, prayer can be simply the communion, the communication with God, between yourself and God. Maybe asking God for favor, asking God to bless you, asking God to support you. It could be even communicating with God in surrendering to God's will, whatever that is. When you're on the spiritual journey, though, the contrast is you are now identifying that the will of God is the will of yourself, because there is no separation. There is an understanding that whatever it is, as you decide to go down the journey of deeper connection with yourself, recognizing that God is within you and you are connecting with that divine power, that you see that God's will and your will, your pure self, right? When we're talking about pure self and your will, we're talking about the will of your consciousness rather than the will of your ego. And so on the spiritual journey, you recognize that in order for you to gain this understanding of the power of, say, prayer, you are taught the connection doesn't require, say, rituals or, things outside of you per se. But prayer really is about resonating with your true essence, the core of who you are. And that prayer isn't just simply about expressing words and speaking to a divine power, but prayer is about action. It's about intention. It's about moving with intention and purpose behind all that you do, because that essentially is the language of God. We are here placed in this physical body to do physical things. We are here with the ability of our mind to strategize and come up with solutions based on what our consciousness desires of us. You see, the brain is not a tool just for simply to say that you're smart and that you can, you know, figure out hard equations and mathematics and come up with fascinating concepts and philosophies. No, your mind is a tool, a machine to figure out how can you actually manifest and create the thing that you desire, the thing that your consciousness seeks, right? How can you actually line up with your very nature? Okay. And so your nature is actually to create, to manifest, and that is to manifest that which you desire. You see? So getting close to God is really about getting closer to oneself. And you do that by practicing things like stillness, meditation, and mindfulness. That is really about spending time with yourself, going deeper, analyzing, really being reflective, internally reflective, and really observing the outside universe, recognizing that that outside universe is actually a reflection of your internal universe. And that's how you really understand a deeper sense of bond and oneness with God. It is about really recognizing that the reality that you are experiencing is a reflection of your connection. So when you are living a lifestyle that doesn't seem to match who you really are, and that looks like really just being unhappy in life, that is because life is not matching who you truly are. You have to identify that you have been living in a way that materializes itself in the current lifestyle that you no longer, enjoy. So you have to find a way to identify the disconnection between your consciousness, which knows what it truly wants, and your programming, right? Your mind, the way you're being and expressing and living, which ultimately results in life, in your lifestyle. And so, in order for you to gain a deeper connection with God, you have to connect with self consciousness, align your mind, your subconscious mind, conscious mind, unconscious mind, and even your ego with that consciousness. And therefore, all the things that you do will be in alignment with your intention, with your purpose, and thus will materialize a reality that reflects you, the true you. Your inner world is a mirror, okay? It is a mirror of your level of alignment with your divine self. So if you find that you are making some strides toward living in alignment with what you truly desire, then that means that your alignment is, in fact, coming to a point of correction, of recognition, of calibration. And so you have to acknowledge and give yourself props for that. Understand that acknowledging those wins will, in fact, build your confidence, allow you to connect deeper with self, and therefore align yourself with God in a way that expresses itself like you're living and creating heaven here on earth. So all of these ideas, even from religion, God, heaven, right? The gates of heaven, all these things are really understanding that they are expressions or, allegories of self. They are reflections of self, different aspects of who you are and how you can accumulate this wisdom of spirituality to a point of recognition of yourself, recognition of God within. So you have to essentially remove this illusion of separation, right? The limiting beliefs that you are here and God is somewhere far away looking down and judging you. Because the reality is that you and God and everything else that you are experiencing are one. Okay? Even Jesus himself said, right? I and the Father are one, but the Father is greater than I. So you do acknowledge that there is a greater power that is running, that is organizing, that has created all of this, but you also recognize that you are one with that power, with that source. And the best way to gain a deeper understanding with that power is to gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Okay, so replace these limiting beliefs with truth that you are always connected because you are the source. You are not separate from the source. You are the source. You just simply have to let go of the false and limiting beliefs that has been programmed in your mind that tell you you are not. Those are all false. The reality is you are the source. And as this source, as one with the creator, you are to create. That is your purpose. That is how you gain a deeper connection with God, by acknowledging the nature of God within you, by creating the things that you desire, the things that resonate with who you truly are, right? The things that you find curious to be, to learn about, the things you find interesting, the things you find that you are passionate about, that you are able to spend hours and hours and hours doing, right? That is your divine self communicating to you that this aligns with purpose. This aligns with your truest essence, the core of who you are. So you must live as a conscious creator. Instead of being unconscious like most of us are, we are roaming the planet, doing what we think we're supposed to do, following along with society's norms, filling this cookie cutter, mundane life of just simply doing the thing that you're supposed to do, right? Going to school, get good grades, go to college, get a good degree, right? Get married, have the 3 kids, right? Or the 2.5 kids and a dog, right? Buy a house, get a mortgage, and then just live the rest of your life. And then finally you retire at 70, 65, 70, 75. Okay. And then you live your last days basically not able to do anything because now you're too old and broken down because you lived this life where you gave the best years of your life away to somebody else's business. That is not the way you want to live your life. Now, if it is, then great. But most of us recognize that there's a disconnection when we go to our jobs every single day. Why is that? Because most times, chances are, your job does not have anything to do with your passion, with your talent, with your curiosity, with your wonder, with your ability to create. Most jobs are not allowing you to create based on your nature. It's not allowing you to be and express the true essence of who you are. So you have to walk into this sense of awareness that you are a creator and that you create your life. And so as a conscious creator, then you step into the realm of recognizing that you are able to create the life that you want. In fact, you are obligated. That is your mission. That is your primary objective in this life, is to create the life that you want. And the further you are from that life you want, then the more in misalignment, the more depressed, the more angry, frustrated, the more miserable you're going to be. And I don't want that for you. So I ask you, get deeper into your connection with God by getting deeper into your connection with self. Because your sense of self that divine power within you is the thing that actually connects with the grand consciousness, right? The grand source, the infinite source, that which we call the universe, that which we call God. You know, it's like you having a cell phone and connecting to somebody else's cell phone. You having a computer and you're connecting it to the Wi-Fi. You have to make sure that your tools that are available to you are sufficient, that you know how to use them to the best of your ability in order for you to communicate and connect with the other side. So recognize that that power is within you. So in order for you to connect deeper with God, look within. Okay? If you want to really know what God looks like, take a look in the mirror. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.